Hey everybody, now the fun part, right? This is what everyone wants to know. Well, I like the accident plan. I like the cancer plan. I like the hospital plan. I like the short-term I like them all. But what's it cost, right? It's got to be affordable. Here are the rates. This is what it's going to cost if you want Aflac. The accident plan was the first one we went over. That's our most popular policy. Honestly, everybody gets it because everybody has an accident. You can't predict one. If you're between 18 and 75 years old and you're just getting it on yourself, it's $7.80 a week. Now, this one's pre-taxed, okay? So pre-tax, it's going to feel like about $6 coming out of your check. Now, if you just want to cover you and your spouse because you have no children, it's $10.23 a week. If you don't have a spouse but you have children, it's $11.94 a week. And two-parent family means you're covering you, your spouse, and your children. It doesn't matter if you have one kid or 12 dependent children. It's $14.73. Pre-tax, that $14.73 pre-tax is going to feel like about $11 coming out of your paycheck. Okay. Now, the hospital was the second one we went over. This one's also pre-tax. Again, all these work the same, but this one is age banded 18 to 49. If you're just getting it on yourself, it's $8.94 a week. Pre-tax feels like about $6.25. If you're age 50 to 59, it's $9.42. 60 to 75, it's $9.63. I want to cover you and your spouse, you and just your kids, entire family. As you can see, these are the prices. Okay, real easy to understand. The plus rider, remember that's the rider that you have to either get the accident policy or the hospital policy if you want to get the rider. That's the one that pays you $5,000 if you had a heart attack, a stroke, or whatever the situation is. Now, if you're just getting it for you and you're between age 18 and 29, it's 72 cents a week. Pre-tax, so it's going to feel like about 60 cents. So extremely affordable. These are the age bands: individual, insured spouse, one parent family, two parent family. Again, $225 a week. It's going to feel like about $1.50 a week coming out of your paycheck. All right. Next, we're going to go over the cancer plan. The cancer plan, if you're between 18 and 75, just for you, it is $12.30 a week, pre-taxed. Since pre-taxed, it is going to feel like about $10 a week. If you are covering you and your entire family, it is $22.11, and that's going to feel like about $15 a week. Okay, hope that makes sense to you guys. Now, short-term disability. Short-term disability is figured up a couple different ways. So I'm going to go slow here so that I don't lose you. A couple of different ways. So you have what's called 07 and 014. What does that mean? So an accident has no waiting period. That's the 0. A sickness, you won't get any pay from Aflac for the first 14 days or the first 7 days. So if you are disabled, let's say you break your leg or 2 legs or whatever and you can't work. The doctor says, hey, you can't do what you do at work, and it was an accident. Aflac's going to pay you from the date of the accident. That's when they're going to start paying you your short-term disability, right? Of course, you got to get the paperwork together, get it in and everything else, and it may take a few days, but they'll pay you back from the day of your accident. If it's a sickness or an illness, like the flu or a sinus infection or something like that, this one, for the first 7 days, you don't get paid anything. So if you're out for 14 days due to a sickness, you'll get paid for 7 of those days because you won't get paid for the first 7. On this one down here, if you're out for 14 days with the flu, you won't get paid any short-term disability because The sickness elimination is 14 days on the second one. It costs less because there's less risk. This is where you have choices. Now, there's also a 3-month benefit period here. Let me delete that. 3-month benefit period there, 6-month benefit period there, 3-month benefit period there, 6-month benefit period there. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you become disabled for any reason and you cannot do your job, the doctor says you can't go to work and do your job, this one will pay you up to 3 months and stop. So if you had to work for 2 months, it'll pay you for 2 months. This option will pay you up to 6 months and stop. So if you had to work for 3 months, it'll pay you 3 months. If you had to work for 8 months, it'll only pay you for 6 months. Same down here. Short-term disability. Now, it is based off of your annual income. So let's use easy numbers. Let's say you make $40,000 a year. Okay? If you make $40,000 a year, Aflac will pay you $2,000 a month that you are disabled and cannot work. That's your benefit, $2,000 a month. If it's the 3-month benefit period on the 0-7 elimination period, that's going to cost you $15 a week if you're 18 to 49. These are age banded as well. $15 a week. This is after tax, not pre-tax. So if it's $15, it will feel like $15 coming out of your check because that's how much coming out of your check. But $15 a week will guarantee you $2,000 a month in income if you become disabled. Now, real simple to figure it out. If you want more coverage than the 3 months and you want the 6-month coverage and you're 18 to 49, it's going to cost you $19.80 a week. Let's say you got money in savings and you really don't need coverage for the first 14 days, right? And you're right here, again, $40,000. Instead of it being $15 like it is up here, it'd only be $11.40. Or $15 here for 6 months worth of benefits. Now, let's say your spouse works and you got savings or whatever the situation is, and you don't actually need $2,000 a month if something happens to you. You could get by if you were getting $1,500 a month, right? So here's our $1,500 a month. Well, we can go down and you can underinsure your paycheck. And instead of it costing you $15 a week, it costs you $11.25 a week for $1,500 benefit, or $14.85 for 6 months. We can underinsure your paycheck, but we cannot overinsure your paycheck. What I mean by that is, if you make $40,000 a year, we cannot say you make $100,000 a year just so that you'll get $8,000 a month worth of disability. Because on this policy, this is the only policy where the employer has to sign off on it, as well as the doctor. The doctor signs off and says you're disabled and you can't perform your job duties. Then your employer signs off on it and says, yes, this is how much money they make. So your income is verified that way. Okay? So that is the short-term disability rates. Now, I only showed here up to $42,000 a year. In the email, I am attaching a second set of short-term disability rates that go up over $42,000 in case anybody makes over $42,000. That way you can see how much the short-term disability is. Okay. And yes, this here, if you're a female and you become pregnant and you're in the hospital for 3 days, this plan will pay you for being in the hospital because you're not able to go to work. If you're out of work for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks after the pregnancy, it will pay you the short-term disability while you're out of work. But this plan here, the short-term disability, is only for the employee. We do not insure the spouse or children. Okay, hope that makes sense to everybody, because they don't work there. They don't have an income that can be verified through this employer, and that's the reason why you cannot get short-term disability on your spouse. All right, I hope that explains everything. Write your questions down. We'll go over them on the phone. Thank you.